My name is LT, Dharma name TN, and I currently live in San Jose. Following my mother's teachings, I often went to the temple, worshipped the Buddha, listened to the venerable monks preach the Dharma, and observed periodic vegetarianism from a very young age. My mother also taught me how to meditate, chant sutras, and recite the Buddha's name. She often reminded me, and sometimes scolded me, because whenever I meditated I would keep nodding off to sleep. I preferred chanting sutras and reciting the Buddha's name more. Knowing this, my mother advised me to chant the Universal Gate chapter as the foundation of my spiritual practice. After some time chanting the sutra, I also recited the 108 names of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. When I was younger, my chanting and recitation were inconsistent, sometimes diligent, sometimes lazy, but now I have become disciplined. I chant sutras and recite the Buddha's name every day without fail. Looking back in time, when I was 20 years old, I became seriously ill and my family took me to PK Hospital in Cho Lon for emergency treatment. I had severe typhoid fever and a dangerously high fever. I remained unconscious for 2 days and 2 nights. The doctors informed my family that my illness was difficult to treat, my circulation was in disorder, and toxins had entered my heart. Everyone in my family cried, but my mother remained very calm and encouraged everyone to sincerely recite the name of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. They continuously chanted the holy name, Namo Savior from suffering and disaster, miraculously responsive Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, throughout the day and night, their voices filling an entire corner of the hospital. That very night, around 2 in the morning, while I was still unconscious, I heard what sounded like flowing water, birds singing, and temple bells ringing. I saw myself climbing step by step toward a magnificent and majestic place on a high mountain. At the gate leading up the mountain and temple were the words, Mount Putuo, on the shore of the South Sea, where Avalokiteshvara is said to reside. In the temple were several hundred people meditating, all facing toward the eastern sea. Everyone had hair and wore beautiful robes of many colors, so I could not tell whether they were men or women. As for me, a woman dressed in white led me into a small thatched cottage nestled among graceful bamboo groves. Inside were 2 young women dressed in blue, both with dignified and cheerful expressions. They told me that the woman in white was their master, known as White-Robed Avalokiteshvara. Overjoyed, I immediately bowed down to prostrate, but White-Robed Avalokiteshvara raised her hand to stop me. She instructed one of the maidens in blue to pour water from the pure vase for me to drink. After drinking it, I felt incomparably refreshed, my body healthy, my spirit light, and my heart filled with joy. I repeatedly expressed my gratitude to White-Robed Avalokiteshvara and the 2 attendants. Then suddenly I opened my eyes and saw many people standing around my bed reciting the name of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. 2 days later, I was discharged from the hospital because I had fully recovered. The doctors were astonished by my sudden recovery. My mother told them that I had been saved from grave illness through the miraculous compassion of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. I believe this as well, and this experience greatly strengthened the faith of both myself and my entire family. As the eldest daughter-in-law, I lived with my husband for many years without having children. My husband loved me deeply, but my husband's relatives made hurtful remarks that caused me great sadness. They would say, "What kind of woman cannot bear children?" Instead of becoming angry, sorrowful, crying, or ashamed of my fate, I remained joyful and silently devoted myself to chanting the Lotus Sutra, reciting the name of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, and praying to have a daughter to bring happiness into our home. My wish was finally fulfilled. After many years of cultivation and prayer, one night I dreamed that I had returned to Mount Putuo to visit the humble dwelling of White-Robed Avalokiteshvara. As I stepped halfway up the stone stairs, I saw the 2 young attendants of Avalokiteshvara approach me and hand me a beautiful little baby girl. I awoke, and from that time I became pregnant. The birth of my child brought immense joy to both me and my husband. My daughter H is now 8 years old. She is very gentle, studies well, and is extremely filial. Everyone in the family, her uncles, aunts, maternal grandmother, and paternal grandmother, loves her dearly.